there. Welcome to another episode of the Car Girl Show. I'm Janice Showers, my co-host Jesse
Kessel
from Machete Marketing. Today we're going to be talking about LinkedIn. We're going to be talking to Ian Nethercott about LinkedIn, and Ian's got some great information for us, some great tips on how to bring value to your LinkedIn page.
Yeah, and we hear this term, LinkedIn influencer or expert really being thrown around a lot, and I see a lot of people using that term to describe themselves. And Janice and I were just wondering, what actually is an influencer? What does it take? How do you get there? How do you get that designation? Yeah. And so Ian is going to come on the show. He is going to talk to us about specific things that he used to get to, I think now, almost 22,000 followers over a period of time.
10 years.
Over 10 years,
Ian's
right?
Been on LinkedIn.
Yeah, so he's going to really give us some golden nuggets that you guys can use and take away to enhance your LinkedIn strategy. So we'll have Ian on the show here. We're actually filming this in two parts. So this is going to be part one and part two, which we will link in the comments below so you can check out both videos.
Yeah, we're looking forward to talking with Ian.
Okay.
And what does that really mean? In my mind, I think you're always learning. I've been learning LinkedIn since the beginning, and it changes daily. So I'm constantly looking at learning on LinkedIn specifically. But to me, every platform, it's about, really daily activity and learning from not only yourself, but what other people do on the platform. And then really growing over time. I think really growing a LinkedIn following takes time, but more importantly, takes good content. So, really it's about building what is you and hopefully helping other people on the platform, which is what I try and focus on.
Chris, are we on camera? Okay, that's fine. We can count it down. So, yeah, is there a designation though, Ian? Do you hit a certain number of influencers or a number of contacts and you become a lion or what?
I tried to look this up and I didn't find.
LinkedIn does brand certain individuals, generally celebrities, with you'll see it on their profile. It has a little sort of LinkedIn sort of check mark or whatever. It's like a blue thing on their profile, and that's really sort of the top certain percentage of LinkedIn people on the globe. But that's really a designation that LinkedIn puts in there. When people put stuff like in their subject line, like I'm a lion, I'm a LinkedIn, expert, I'm a LinkedIn trainer, I'm a LinkedIn influencer, all those kind of things, that's really them, I guess, making themselves, in their opinion, what they feel is a LinkedIn person or a LinkedIn leader. I feel that really it's that's not necessarily true. That's what they feel, and that's how they're promoting themselves.
Yeah, usually it's the ones that offer it as a service.
Headlines.
If they offer it as a service, how to optimize your LinkedIn profile or become LinkedIn famous, if they offer it, then they become, they list themselves as LinkedIn influencers. But I did some research on this actually online because I was really curious to know after someone told me that they were a LinkedIn influencer, and I thought, what? Really?
How does that work?
I'm thinking, I don't know. I'm pretty active on there, and I don't consider myself a LinkedIn influencer. So once upon a time, a while ago, I guess when LinkedIn wasn't as popular, they were offering that designation, and people could actually apply for it, and then they closed it off. So you can't apply for it anymore. And like Ian said, it's more people that are are celebrities. They're celebrities, and so they'll give them the designations. But for the rest of us, it's not something you can just have on your profile, right?
Or you're a thought leader. Like, for example, if I'm, I work for Harvard University. I mean, one of the people recently that I talked to quite a bit, I think her name is Dory. She does courses for LinkedIn on their LinkedIn learning platform. And she's a university prof and a well-regarded one. And, there are other people like that, like Guy Kawasaki and those kind of people, right? I mean, these are known people anyway. But in terms of the question I would ask someone who claims they're a LinkedIn influencer is, first of all, like, number one, how long you been on the platform? Like, have you been on since the beginning of the platform? How many first-degree connections do you have? And more importantly, how active are you on the platform? Like, anyone can claim that I can, rewrite your profile for you. It's the same as people who say I can rewrite your resume. That doesn't guarantee that it's going to be a better profile resume. That just means, in their opinion, it is, right?
Right.
And I know most of the LinkedIn trainers globally, and some of them are better than others, but my opinion is, if you're going to learn LinkedIn, you really need to use the platform. And then it's a question of what you're using it for. So, my view is I change my profile pretty commonly, like on a pretty regular basis. And I publish content, and I have for quite a while. But I publish content because I like to publish it. People read it because they like it. It's not about, me making money from it specifically. Now, I think someone who's a LinkedIn influencer or a LinkedIn trainer, a lot of those guys, it's really, for them, it's about money, which is fine. But that doesn't mean you're an influencer. That just means you're making a living from it, right? So to me, there's people I read because I like their content, and they may or may not be a LinkedIn influencer. I mean, there's a guy that I like in the sales side, and he's been at it for, I don't know how long, probably only a couple of years, but he's garnered a huge following because his stuff is not only sales-centric, it's funny. And he happens to be in the UK. But, I would ask the first question, like, how many LinkedIn connections do you have, and how much do you interact with those connections? I would consider the first step to being an influencer someone who's got close to the 30,000 connection cap, or has a large reading following of their articles or posts. I have, over 20,000 people read articles of mine, but that's taken me time. I have over 20,000 first-degree connections, I think closing on 22 or 23,000 now.
And how long did that take you, Ian?
And were you adding them manually?
Years, daily activity. It's like anything else. It isn't something that you can build overnight. I mean, there are people that try and shortcut that. Mm-hmm. And what they do is they either send out a whole bunch of spammy emails to people, or they have people do that. These are people I've built up over time. So I don't know what the number is today. Let me see. I can tell you. And then, of course, you're always going to have to weed some people out, too, because some people, they become connections and they find out they're not really... you really don't want them as a connection. So I'm closing on 22,000 now, 21,641. The max is 30,000 since Microsoft bought LinkedIn. So before
you can't get past the 30, but you can on your business profile, right?
Yeah, from articles point of view or a follower on your business page, that's not limited. But from a first degree connections point of view, the current limit is 30,000. So, for example, when I write articles, I have people read my articles, and there's been some recent changes to that where you can subscribe weekly, and there's a whole bunch of other changes. And LinkedIn just went live with live video streaming like Facebook Live, which I don't know if they've opened it up to everybody, but I'm starting to see some people on that over the last couple of days. So that's something that's coming. But in terms of articles, let me just see how many. In a second, I'll tell you. So articles are a great way to grow your network, not only of people that are connected to you directly, but just to grow your network, because there's no upper limit. So you can write articles as much as you want, and as many people as you want can follow articles. Let me just see on the articles.
So there's no limit to followers on your articles.
Yeah, people can subscribe, and they made some
connections.
changes there, so it makes it even better, where they can actually... you can actually have it promote that you're writing a weekly article or whatever you want. I haven't written a huge amount of articles lately just because I finished my MBA and I haven't had time.
Congratulations. I said congratulations.
But it took me a while. So I've got almost 21,000 people who read my articles. Currently, 20,934 followers. Now, that also isn't something that I built overnight. So it took time to get there. The other thing that I think a lot of people, really need to understand about LinkedIn is the paid memberships of LinkedIn have benefits, but it all depends on how you use LinkedIn. So, really the best thing that I can recommend anybody who wants to become a LinkedIn influencer is spend some time daily at a certain time of day and do daily activity, because that's what really gets you visible on LinkedIn. But don't be too spammy or promotional, because I think there's a lot of people. I mean, one of my personal people lately that's kind of been annoying me is Grant, because I think he promotes too much of the same stuff. Like, there's no value, it's just a post. So if you're going to do posting, and it's fine if it's still or video or whatever you want to do, just make it have some value. Sure. I think a lot of people use like Hootsuite and other platforms to just spam LinkedIn, and that it's not a good thing. Like, it's just not going to grow anything. It's going to annoy people. That's what it'll do. Now, an example of someone who does it well, I think, is Gary Vaynerchuk, which is no surprise. He always adds a lot of value. So even if his posts seem a little spammy, which they are to a certain degree, at least you're getting some value out of it. So if you're going to do a lot of posting, make sure that you have the content to back it up.
So something interesting that Gary Vee does is that he documents. He doesn't just do, value add videos, but it's more so like he's on his way somewhere or he's doing his speaking engagement. But it's really like he makes you feel like you're a part of his day. Life. You're a part of his life. You're a part of his day. You're like the fly on the wall, and you're kind of tuning into what he is doing, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, he actually posted today, I don't know if you've seen it on LinkedIn, but he posted a slide deck, which is basically his giving away his social media strategy, because he knows no one will do it. But it's a great slide deck about how to build a social media strategy on all networks. Now, I think what's happened in the last 6 to 9 months is people are starting to realize that LinkedIn has a lot of value. Mm-hmm. I've always believed it had a lot of value. So to me, that's been true since day one. It's just lately people are starting to realize that, well, if you want to sell to somebody who maybe has money, LinkedIn's a good way to do that. That's not new. They just weren't paying attention to it. Historically, they were saying, okay, you got to be on Facebook to do that, or you got to be on Instagram to do that, or you got to be on whatever. Yeah. And I'm not saying you shouldn't be on those other platforms. I just know from what I do on a daily basis, I sell to business owners. So to me, they're not on those other platforms to do business. On LinkedIn, they are.
So what do you think, Ian, about, you just were talking about, the business to business versus business to consumer. How do you feel? I'm seeing a lot more car professionals, who work in a dealership doing a lot of the same types of promotional, salesy videos that they're doing on other platforms, and they're doing it on LinkedIn.
I have some personal friends who actually post on LinkedIn with mixed success. The one I use as an example a lot is a gentleman I know who happens to work in a Lexus dealer a couple blocks away from me. He just posts vehicles he sold. So he says, okay, here are the 3 people I sold this week. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But you got to be a little cognizant of the fact that the sophistication of the platform is a little different. Mm-hmm. So just like, and you see this with realtors too. Realtors, they post what they sold. Like, to me, I don't care what a realtor sold. What I care about is why is that realtor, why should I use that realtor? So what makes you different? And I think that's where they're missing on LinkedIn. They might be posting the same video or images on Facebook or Instagram or wherever they're posting them. You need to have content that's specifically for LinkedIn. So what you need to say is, okay, I'm XYZ salesperson. Yeah, I sell a lot of vehicles. Here's why you should talk to me. And I'd argue the same with the realtor. Like, I don't care what you sold last week. What I care about is what makes you different from every other realtor.
What makes you different?
Yeah, so to take a page from Gary, tell me about what makes you a good realtor, or what makes me want to, do business with you. And I think a lot of it should be about, maybe something that that other people don't know, or something that you can share to help that person. And there was actually a pretty good video today from, I think, a salesman from the Not Automotive Group. And it was a combination of him going through a used car, which he hasn't sold yet, obviously, and also doing a shout out to other members of his automotive group, saying, here's a challenge for you. So that was kind of interesting. There's another guy, I think his tagline, he's out of California, selling cars like candy bars. I think it's his.
Yeah, I love that guy.
Yeah.
That's a great brand. Good brand.
Stuff. He does some interesting stuff.
Yeah.
To me, it's about interest. It's not about sort of, woe is me, what's wrong in the world. And I think there's a lot of people that shoot video just to shoot video. Shoot video and add something interesting. And it may not even be your content. It may be something interesting that you found today, right? But really you want people to be interested in you, but not only that, to add value, so they're interested in looking at your profile, or they're interested in doing business with you. And that's where you got to combine that with other tools. So whether it's Sales Navigator if you're a salesperson, or whether it's the human resources piece, which is also a big part of LinkedIn. You know, I see a lot of human resource professionals just doing posts, but not really understanding, you know, whether they're a headhunter or an HR department or whatever. You know, you really have to have that person want to interface with you. And you have to do that by saying, okay, why should I work for XYZ company? Or why should I work with XYZ headhunter? Or why should I work with a certain amount of car person, right?
Yeah, I think brands today are, you know, really starting to think a lot further than just sales, right? It's also about, you know, when you put yourself out there, you don't know who's watching, right? And you don't even know the potential opportunities that exist from other people just watching you, because they may want to buy something from you, or they may even want to work for you, right? But hire you. So it's like that all ties into, you know, how you're representing yourself on all these different platforms. It's not just about, hey, you know, here's what I sell, come buy it for me.
Yeah, I mean, be careful about certain things that I think people put on LinkedIn that, you know, they really shouldn't. So one of those things, I think, is anything political. Be very careful.
And there is a ton of that.
Gun stuff, I don't understand that at all.
So, and what else, Ian? I'm sorry, I missed that. Politics?
Gun stuff?
Stuff.
You know, selling guns or hitting on people that have guns or whatever that is. I mean, to me,
agree with you.
A little bit nuts.
Right.
Lately, there's been a lot of pro-marijuana stuff, which I think you got to be really careful about. I just think that that's a real hornet's nest. Right. And anything where they're really attacking somebody. Like, there's a lot of news anchors now who post, like, the really bad news on LinkedIn. Like, I don't want to hear that.
It's all bad,
No guns,
and the other thing is you got to look at
news.
Your audience. So when you look at your audience on LinkedIn, these tend to be better educated people. Not to say that someone who has less or more education is better. They tend to be, you know, high income individuals. So, you know, there isn't that. It isn't like that, you know, cat video place. That's not what you're putting on the network. Like on a weekend,
no cat videos on LinkedIn,
whatever, right? Like if you're doing it on a weekend on LinkedIn, that's fine. But if you're doing it Monday to Friday, it doesn't speak well to you. That's not to say don't have fun. I mean, I think that there's people that have a lot of fun. I mean, sales humor is one that I look at every day, and it's hilarious. So it's fine to have fun as long as it's business centered.
And that's really the main difference, right? Between
I love it.
Between Facebook and LinkedIn is that some posts are just more acceptable on Facebook. You can have a good laugh on cats falling down or whatever, right? But when you put it on LinkedIn, it's out of place.
Not interested. And not only that, I mean, I think you get a lot of people more so on LinkedIn than any other platform that are curating the content for LinkedIn. So they're removing a lot of that stuff. I mean, there was a woman that I think could have done a way better job. And I'm not meaning to bash anybody, but I think her tagline was sexy chef or something like to that effect. So she was putting online all these images that were really kind of quasi-pornographic. And I was like, what are you doing? Like, don't do that.
But isn't it like an eclipse? Like, did you still did you still stay connected, or did you block her?
And I was like, don't do that on this platform. Like, A, it paints you in a bad light, and B, it's not appropriate for the platform.
Not appropriate.
You know, pick another tagline. I mean, the other one that I use as an example of what to do, and I'm not sure the name of the company, but I think it's Celebrity Pop, or she makes popsicles. I think it's Standard Pop, or it's like a nostalgia popsicle company out of California, and she has all these nostalgic photos where it's like the 50s, like she's in a 50s getup and she's selling popsicles, and it's great. It's a fantastic brand awareness campaign. She's been doing it for years. It works great. There's a swimsuit lady, I think she's also out of California, who does great work on LinkedIn, where initially she got a little bit, people got all over because of the sort of lewdness of some of the photos, but she learned quickly and has adapted. But, you know, I mean, you just got to be cognizant that, you know, it's not really a platform where some of that content makes sense. And it wouldn't be any different if it was a man who happened to be like a male model posting half-naked photos of himself. Like, that's not the platform for that. I don't think any platform is for that, but LinkedIn definitely isn't. And you shouldn't be doing that. And the same thing is true with people that get all into politics, whether it be Middle Eastern politics or North American politics or U.S. politics. I mean, nobody wants to see that. They just don't, right? So, and you just got to be careful about that. And I think there's a lot of people that are sensitive to that, and clearly they remove it anyway. But it's just, you just got to be cognizant that, you know, keep it professional. It's fine if it's self-improvement. It's fine if it's learnings. It's fine if it's feedback. Some of the confessionals can be interesting sometimes. Some of them, I think, go a little too far, but, you know, there's nothing wrong with that either. I mean, I think as long as you're cognizant of it.
Yeah, and I think, you know, like you said, it's something that takes time, and it takes time because you still have to find your voice on the platform, and, you know, what kind of things you're interested in, you want to be posting on, and what people are responding to.
I
and
find
you know,
myself nervous to post on LinkedIn sometimes, where with Facebook I might type up and throw anything on there. With LinkedIn, should I post that? I didn't realize a couple great tips on there that you gave us, Ian. I didn't realize articles are unlimited for followers. Versus posts. It seems like articles have a little more longevity. I also like setting aside the time every day.
Articles, the other thing that I think people, and maybe it's part of our ADD these days, and I say that's true on all social media, is they look at it and they go, okay, well, I post this article and I only got 50 people to look at it. Well, not everyone's going to look at that article immediately, and not everybody is going to look at it even over time specifically. But the key to writing articles, in my opinion, is write a bunch of articles. Don't post them immediately. Write a bunch of articles. Think on it for a while. Make sure you edit them properly. And then realize that it may take time to build up articles. I mean, I have a lot of readers in my articles, but my top article maybe has 4,000 or 5,000 views, tops.